So good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first session this morning of the International Women's Day Hackathon. I am really pleased to welcome back Rishita Chandra. She's been with us even in the last hackathon, so maybe some of you can recognize her from there. She's the founder of 70 PR Design and Know Your Art. Some of you may already be familiar with Know Your Art. She's an expert in publishing and print media, and she works in the space of fine art and design. She founded Know Your Art, and it curates educational fun kits, for children to learn in a creative way. She also conceptualized the Jet Kids magazine, which you might have seen at some point when you were flying with Jet X. So really pleased to welcome Rishita here.
Thank you.
Also, yes, pleased to welcome Purnima here. She's a lawyer by profession, but she's really passionate about children and art. And she has a keen interest in kids' creativity and art, which has brought her here today to talk to you all today. So today's session is going to be about design thinking, but not only that, also branding and logo design. So over to you now, Rishita and Purnima.
Hi, good morning. So happy to have everybody with us here today. And I hope this session helps you in this hackathon. And I'm sure you're all excited, for this weekend. I've been through a few hackathons and it's really fun. So I think this will help you get charged up and all ready. So I'll just share a little screen. Just a second. Just a second. Yes, can you see? Everyone can see the screen, right?
Yes.
Yes, right?
Yeah, so design thinking is a tool that is very important, not only just when you make a product or, app or for companies. And this tool is used by a lot of companies, especially like, in day-to-day, in your day-to-day life, like you must have seen, companies like Google and Uber and Swiggy, all these use design thinking in their process. However, it's a good thing to start early, even as kids, and you can see that how helpful it is, just so that it helps you solve problems and find solutions to things that you come across, every day. So, yeah. So imagine this situation. All right, I'm going to unmute you at some point so you can answer this question. There's a few years ago, there was this situation people came across. A truck was stuck under a bridge, and a lot of experts were called in. The entire road and traffic was blocked. And as you can see, the experts came and some of them suggested to shave off a part of the bridge or chip it off. And some engineer said we should dismantle the truck so that it passes under the bridge. But a little boy who was just, in the area, he stopped to think and he came up with a solution. So I would like maybe you guys to just tell me how would you solve this, if you kind of had a chance to get this truck out, what would you do? Does anyone have any idea? Yeah, Isha? Isha from Teen 7, I can see your hand. You want to say something? Yeah?
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead. Who's that?
You could maybe try to pop the tires.
Okay. Yes. So this whole process went on for a long time, and then this little boy said that maybe we should just deflate the tires and the height of the truck will reduce. And the people around were amazed at this suggestion. They tried it and the truck slowly moved out without having to chip off any part of the bridge, as well as any technical dismantling. So they just came to realize that sometimes, when we call in the experts, we miss out on the simple solutions that we see in front of us. And so then they devised this whole process called design thinking, which they said that it's a very important tool and we should probably put it down as to how to use it, in our daily life. So even Steve Jobs from Apple, you must have heard of him. He says design is not what just things look and feel like, it is how they work. So they have to work first and solve the problem, and then you can make it look and appealing and make it feel good. But if the problem is not solved using this, then the whole process of design is not complete. For example, this simple button on the car, on your cars, it's like a start and stop button, but it may look and feel good, but if it doesn't do its job, then it's not really useful. So design is when things are useful first, and then they look and feel good, right? So let's kind of put this all together. So when you come across a problem or an idea, but you have to make sure that it's making your life easier, you're solving something, or it's helping somebody. You put yourself in someone else's shoes, you empathize, you think, you ask questions, and then you want to build something. So it may sound a little daunting, but we'll break it down into simple steps, and this will help you create your apps and your AI thinking design. But this is how the problem will be broken down into simple parts. So you need to empathize. Do you know what empathy is? When you build anything related to design, empathy is when you have the ability to think like somebody else, but you also do something about it. You just don't see the problem, you also understand it. You see what would the other person feel like if they were in this situation. What would the driver of the truck feel like? Hopeless. What would he want to do? And then you kind of think of the solution. So maybe you should jot down a few points when you start your design thinking process. First is, who is this? What problem are you solving? But who is this going to be designed for? Is it for your family member? Is it for the children in the area? Is it for your school or people in the country? Who are you designing for? The second thing is, have them. You have to choose your user, and it could be anybody. Like I said, who is it for? And then you sit and you have a conversation with them, ask them what their problems are, you take down notes, what would they like, what features would they like in, what are you doing? So you kind of, take these points down and you have a chat and conversation with them. And lastly, you make a note of what are the users' gain points and the pain points. So why they need this, whatever you're designing, why do they need it? And what problem will it solve, but how will it make them happy also, So for example, if you're just designing something like to carry water in, so maybe you ask the people in the area who are facing a shortage of water problems, you ask them that what are the problems they're facing. At the same time, what will make them happy, what their gain points are, how will maybe devising, say, something to carry their water in, how will it make them happy, what are the things that they need. Yeah. So the process of design thinking is divided into a few parts. First, you have your idea, or your, when you see a problem, you kind of want to find the solution. But before that, you before you straight away build your product, you have to kind of go and ask questions. Like you first to empathize, to see what the problem is. You empathize and you put yourself in the shoes of the user. That what is it that is needed at this moment? You define it. You write it down. You ask the user, the gain points and pain points. You create a prototype, as in you can model it with everyday material. Maybe you can draw sketch. Your prototype doesn't have to be a physical object. You can make it out of Lego or even a design sketch, and then you try and test it out. Testing out means you can test it with other team members, or you can test it with people around you. And finally, if your idea works, it's good, it's great. But it's also nice that if it doesn't work, it's a learning process. You go back to your design board, you make your changes, again, you test it out, and finally your product is ready to share. And you can share it with the people you made it for. If it's an AI app, if it's physical product, you kind of give it to a few people before you launch it, before you market it. And when you're marketing this process, marketing is a process of sharing it with people around you. So at that time, you kind of need to think of a name for it. When you think of a name and want to publicize it, is where the process of branding comes in. So Purnima, who's here with me, is going to take you through the process of branding and how you can kind of make this fun. Let's see how fun it is. Like branding is a really great part of design, so she'll run you through this. Yeah, over to you, Purnima.
Thank you, Rishita. Can all of you hear me? Rishita?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. So that's really wonderful that we've gone down the steps of how to design a product which will be both very useful functionally, and the design should be appealing. And now more and more we see how, like Rishita mentioned, Steve Jobs and Apple, like this is a product which really people have been from the start attracted to because of how sleek it looks. It kind of looked like it spoke to people in the millennium. You stepped into the 21st century. So it kind of had a sense that you could relate to. And then that kind of became that relatability of being part of this very steel and sleek kind of era became something which was characteristic of this product, of this design. And the strength of this product was in its branding. So that whole appeal factor, that you kind of feel that emotion when you see that beautiful design, that is called branding. What it attracts the customers to that product, to want to come back, you kind of trust that product. So, over here, we've put together a couple of logos, which I'm sure so many of y'all would have been familiar with. Of course, we've got the Apple logo, but I'm sure y'all will recognize others also. So, can should we unmute a few, and maybe y'all can put up your hands. Can y'all recognize some of them? Can y'all recognize this one? Yeah. I can't see hands up because I've got everyone on a strip, but if y'all can unmute and then just, like what logo would this be? Can y'all recognize this logo?
No,
This is one of the
Pepsi logo.
Yeah. Can y'all see this logo over here? Can y'all recall what it is?
Miss, Miss, I can't see where your mouse is.
Okay, so the one on the second row, next to the U, on the right side of the U, do you all recognize this logo? Yes, over there.
It's a dome.
Okay. And what about this one? The one that is two below the U.
Yes, Fiona.
Miss, I think it's a logo of the Rolex watch.
Of the Rolex watch. That is correct. Yeah. And can you all recognize the one to the right of that?
Of the loom. Fruit loom.
That is correct. That's superb. And what about these three stripes?
That's
Adidas. Adidas.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this Adidas logo is actually a very, very interesting one. Okay. We've all seen Adidas. We've seen it on players. We've seen it in shops all over on your friends. Do you all recognize where the Adidas logo is usually placed? Of course, they have that little logo on the left side on a t-shirt. You'll see that, on the chest. But usually, where do you see the three stripes? Can anybody tell me?
On your shoes?
But where on the shoes?
Around inside. On the side. But on the side of the shoe.
On the side. What about on the clothes when you see an Adidas logo? Do you really need to see the actual label? Where do you actually see? You see somebody wearing a t-shirt, and without seeing the name Adidas also, where do you see the three stripes?
In the top left corner.
Oh, on the left corner. And like where the cricketers have it or the tennis players have it, you'll see it on their sleeve. You'll see it on the sleeve on the side, or you'll see it down the track pants on the side of the leg. So all these, they're called positional brands, so they are all positional brands, and it becomes part of the design. So when somebody is even designing sports clothes, they incorporate that in a particular position. So when you are designing, say, your app, your AI app, or even a design product, you will try and incorporate that brand. Like, when you wear Levi jeans, you'll always see the little Levi jeans are always in the pocket in a particular place. So the whole aspect of that brand starts getting recognized by the position in which you are actually putting certain marks, which then become protected as trademarks. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide and see how people have designed and incorporated. Rishita, we'll go on to the next slide. See, you have some products, like, over here, you see the Burberry. It looks like a Scottish tartan. And it's very, very recognized as a very distinguished brand of leather goods, of jackets, but it gets its inspiration from the Scottish tartan. And this is another place where you see the design has actually become the brand. Yeah. So that is one kind of logo. Now, the first logo that I asked you all, it was actually not Adobe, it was Kodak. Now the Kodak logo, even the name Kodak, when you just hear Kodak, like that, the name itself, it just reminds you, without knowing that it is a brand associated with photography, it sounds like the click of a camera. So when you're ideating, in the steps of putting together a design, even the way the logo has been made with a K, so how you will incorporate that into whatever your platforms are, how you will use it for advertising and communicating very crisply with your target audience, what that product is going to do. And in fact, this word Kodak, it doesn't exist in the dictionary. It's just a made up word, It's a made up word. So when you make up a word, it's called, you coin the word, as if you minted a coin. And that becomes your very, very distinct trademark logo. And these are some other very interesting ones. We've got the Pace and Pale Ale. That's one of the oldest known trademark registrations. When you want to protect your trademark, you can apply to the government, to the authorities, and get that registered. So the story over here is, in the UK, when they started the trademark law in 1875, Somebody spent the whole night outside the government office to put in their application because they wanted to be the first application, and they're the oldest registration known today. Yeah. Now this one, Coca-Cola, everybody knows Coca-Cola, everybody knows Santa Claus. But Santa Claus, do you know he didn't always wear red and white? Do you know who put him in red and white? Do you all know this? He used to wear green and silver and gold. Can anybody tell me who put him in red and white?
The Coca-Cola company.
The Coca-Cola company, that's right. So do you see how cleverly they started? I mean, nobody would imagine that Santa wore anything but red and white. And now when they ran their campaign, their ad campaign, imagine how strong it is that they could clothe Santa Claus, and they ran a whole ad campaign, and it was a very cute campaign. Santa used to open the fridge when he came to put down the presents, and he'd take out a Coca-Cola from the fridge, that kind of a thing. So all these others, this Amul girl is also very interesting. You see the hoardings all over. And this is one of the most famous outdoor campaigns. Of course, now we've kind of gone into the digital world and you see the ads in the newspaper. But initially, they prided themselves on being only on hoardings, because that's where advertising was the most visible to the most number of people. And they would have this whole, again, this is part of the brand. So the whole thinking about how you want to communicate and get people to see what's on my hoarding when they're passing a particular road. They wanted to tell the story of what was happening in India or in the world, and they continue to do that. So you see their hoardings, they will change every 2 days also because they keep up with the news. And you'll find this little Amul girl who will be telling the story or interacting with somebody who's made a century in cricket, or she's sad because Lata Mangeshkar passed away. But what they're doing is they're actually connecting with the people, every single hoarding, every single ad. And it's a very current thing that people are experiencing. So this kind of a design, this kind of a story that you want to tell, every day it changes. That's called a fluid brand. It's a fluid trademark. And one of the other very fluid trademarks is you log in onto your computer, you try and do a search. Where do you go? You go on to Google. You go onto the search engine Google, and you want to see the Google Doodle, right? So again, what is Google doing? Every day they're talking to their consumers. And how beautiful is it? They actually talk to different consumers, talking about a different story, because what might be relevant in India may be different from what's relevant in Japan at that time. And they will come up with a doodle which is relevant to its audience, where the audience is consuming it. So when you are designing your product, like Rishita mentioned, you want to see what the gain points are, the pain points are, the relatedness is, and you want people to keep coming back because it's like a trusted friend when you come back to that product, right? And the brand will tell you, this is me, come and pick me, right? You want to kind of wave out too and stand out, because today there is so much noise, so much white noise that you hear in marketing, that you want to stand out amongst all the other brands that you find online, all the other brands that you might find at a supermarket. And another brand that has done this so well is amongst toys is the Lego brand. So these little Lego figures, no matter where you are, if you see a Lego little yellow fellow like this, you will associate it with Lego. Now, the reason I put in this tennis ball and this Kirloskar, because Kirloskar, they use their family name and they used it on all different kind of products. So, there are, like, when you want to protect something, the manner in which you will protect it, they used it from, like, these are famous words. They said, we use it from piano to pin. We use it on every single thing. So then they would just very aggressively, they would protect it and not let anybody else use Kirloskar, because even if they did not make that product, somebody would think, oh, Kirloskar makes so many things, like Godrej makes so many things. We should protect it no matter what anybody else might use it on. We want to stop them from doing it because it's associated only with me. And this tennis ball, now that's very, very interesting. This tennis ball, it actually has the smell of cut grass. You know, you have grass, you play on grass, and you associate tennis with that. You know, the Wimbledon is played on grass. So this tennis ball, the smell of that tennis ball has a whiff of freshly cut grass. So now see how they have infused that to immediately, when you, even if you're not around a tennis ball and you smell freshly cut grass, actually freshly cut grass, you'll start associating it with this Wilson tennis ball. Yeah, so the design, it kind of goes and talks to your audience in all its senses. So, you know, one other which I don't have over here, but you can also have audio brands. Like when you put on Netflix, what do you hear? Immediately, do you think you're hearing Disney Hotstar? No, you know immediately. Budum, like that, you hear a sound. No? So when you hear budum, huh? How do you capture that? Look at all of you, you can relate to it. I can see so many laughs. Yeah. So when somebody will start your AI app, can you imagine you're going to be talking to them through that little sound? You know, like years ago, even Colgate had, you had like ting, like that. You know, you had like one ring that went around the teeth, and it went ting like that, as if there was a sparkle on your teeth. So these are the things that you can just think out of the box. Don't just say, I have to make a logo. A logo is not the end of it. You kind of see how you can talk to your audience with all its senses and invoke that emotion in every which way. Yeah, so we'll go on to the next slide. Great. Now you see how Apple, when they first started, okay, now this was way before the millennium, and they are still so relevant to a young audience. So the reason why we've put this here is it kind of shows you how when you do put together a logo, you do kind of come up with a design for, say, your phone, or even the manner in which you might design your apps. You would kind of see how you can adapt that to the changing times, because your audience is growing. You know, like you see in the superhero world, you see superheroes. Superman wore the same kind of clothes 20 years ago, 30 years ago, all that. But you know, today he can, the way in which they show his cape and his logo, that has kind of evolved in 3D and things like that. So you see the manner in which Apple also, it started off so differently in 1976. And then they started introducing color. When they started introducing color in computers, you see how nicely Apple reflected what was happening in the computer world. And over the years, it's kind of changed. So, you know, you had a lot of black and white and steel and teal color in the early 2000s, to say that we have stepped into the 21st century. And then it has adapted now to this very, very 3D feel, where you can continue to relate to a young audience. And similarly, you see the Rolls-Royce brand. That speaks to audiences who may be not necessarily of only this generation. It speaks to 3-4 generations before us also. And it has stood the test of time and continues to change its logo and adapt to what the current audience finds appealing. Maybe move to the next slide. Wonderful. So now again, y'all can unmute and tell me which one of these are trademarks. You know, we Xerox the papers, we have cornflakes in the morning. You might go to the spa and sit in a jacuzzi. You use Photoshop. You listen to music on a Walkman. You have hot chocolate in a thermos. Which ones are a trademark? Can you all tell me?
Walkman.
Is Walkman a trademark, you think? Is Walkman a trademark?
Jacuzzi.
Jacuzzi? Do you think it's a trademark?
Or is it
Or is
Google?
jacuzzi like a big hot tub?
It's a big hot tub.
Google
It's a big hot
I
tub.
think it's a trademark.
It's a trademark.
Google
is a think?
Google is a trademark.
Google is a trademark. You're very right. So you cannot Google anything. You must not Google anything, because what are you doing? You are using the word Google, which is actually a brand, like a verb. So you should not do that. You can say, I am doing a search on the Google search engine. I know that's a longer sentence, but it's safer for the Google brand. Okay. So what about
trademark?
Photoshop is a trademark? You're right. You know, the person who said Walkman is a trademark, you are absolutely right. Walkman is a
Even
trademark
Xerox.
of the company Sony. So Sony's personal stereo was called Walkman, or is called Walkman. And the person who said jacuzzi is a brand is also correct. And in fact, every single one of these words over here is a trademark. But what has happened over the years, because, like, say, for example, nobody would imagine cornflakes did not exist, but actually Kellogg's came up with the actual product, cornflakes. They had this packaged, quick, instant breakfast cereal, and they called it cornflakes, but people didn't know what to call it. So they always started referring to it as cornflakes. And similarly, the same thing happened to Xerox. They were the pioneers in photocopying. And so people started calling this, isko Xerox kar lo, I need a Xerox copy. So that is what they started referring to it as. Again, even Ziploc. So when you see you've come up with some very unique design, you've come up with a very great solution, that, like, Ziploc is such a simple solution, right? You open the bag, you press it together, and it's zipped closed. And people don't know what to call that. So then they start calling it by the brand name. And then that becomes a little dangerous to protect the brand, because then if you are going to call any kind of cola a Coke, can you call a Pepsi a Coke? You can't do that, right? A Pepsi is a Pepsi and a Coke is a Coke, but both are colas. So you need to make sure that you are calling it a Walkman stereo, or you're calling it cornflake cereal, or you're calling it a Xerox photocopy, that kind of a thing. Yeah. So that does not what they call in the law world, they call it diluting the trademark. So when you say, let's Google this, you're actually weakening the brand. So when you come up with this very ingenious special idea and you have a brand, definitely make sure that you have also called that very unique product something which people can refer to it by apart from your brand. Okay. So when you're thinking about your app and all, you think about that as well. Let's move on to the next slide. Great. So now, how do you tell people that this brand belongs to you? How do you tell them that? So the easiest way to tell them that is to put this little symbol next to it. So when you come up with a brand, when you come up with a trademark, a logo, you can put this little TM in a little circle and put it in a little superscript right next to your logo. Yeah. And when you've got a registration, you can put an R. So, you know, when you apply, you make an application to the government. And that can be done in many different countries, depending on where you want to use your brand, or where you're launching your design. Or in the case of an app, it can actually be in many different parts of the world, even at the same time. So you would want to tell the government, please protect this for me. I'm making an application and give me a registration certificate. So once the registration certificate comes to you, you can actually use it with an R. Yeah. So these are all the different, sorry, we'll just go back quickly. Yeah. So these are all the different things, that a brand can stand for. It is a right that can last forever as long as you keep renewing your registration. And it tells you where this particular product or this service or this app has been made, or who has made it, what the name of the company is, and you keep associating it with that company. And now, you will have heard of copyright also. So both trademarks and copyright, and there are a couple of other rights, they all fall within the kind of rights called intellectual property. Yeah, intellectual property. But trademarks are quite different from copyright. So copyright is anything that you have created. And trademark is only when it is used on a product or on a service. But copyright, when you have a creation of your logo, you can have a copyright in the logo, but you can also have copyright in the music, in advertisements, on labels which you use on the product. And that protection in different parts of the world are for different time periods. So in India, it's about 60 years from the time it was first created or first published. Yeah. So these are just things to keep in mind, how to protect, because you put in so much of an investment, it's unique, and you don't want other people to just copy it without giving you credit. You all will have heard, even in school, you can't just copy from your encyclopedias or from some website. You actually have to give credit to it. Yeah. So you would find a C on anything that has been created by someone, and then you know that this cannot just be copied like that. And make sure when you have created something, you use the appropriate little symbol to let people know that this is a protected intellectual property. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, now I think this is our last slide in branding of how we can prevent this from becoming generic. So we talked about not to be used as a common noun. So you don't use it to say, for example, you don't just say Nescafe as if you're referring to coffee. You don't say, if you want an actual Nescafe coffee, then you say Nescafe coffee. Yeah. So, and then you don't use it like, I'm going to Google it, right? So you don't use it as a verb. When you have color combinations of the logo, you should protect those color combinations. So be very clear when you're designing your app about what colors you want to use. Each color, we have we've discussed this in other sessions as well, about your colors actually depict a lot of emotion, depicts a lot of what it stands for. Different colors can be bold, they can be cheerful. So depending on what you have chosen, you should be very, very clear about it and consistent in how you want to use it. And one of the designs that are very interesting, which is actually the product itself, as well as the product of the packaging. You see Toblerone, that has been protected as a trademark, because wherever you see these little triangles, they, even without seeing the word Toblerone, you would know it's a Toblerone chocolate. So the design of this has actually become the brand itself. And it's also very functional. So when you want to share a Toblerone, it just becomes so easy. Even if it's very cold and from the freezer, it'll just click low and it'll become another piece. So this is just some innovative ways to, just ideate and think and discuss about how you want to and what you want to incorporate into your design and into your brand. Yeah. So I think this is the last slide on branding. What's the next slide?
Miss, I had a question that are those triangles also registered? Because I've never seen any chocolates.
You are correct. It is registered. It is registered, it's protected, and it only belongs to the Toblerone company.
Thank you, Purnima. This was so wonderful.
Yes,
and,
thank you.
It's a great learning. And when we design our logos and our products, we are going to keep all these rules in mind and be very careful that they aren't copied.
Yeah, this was a great question about the Toblerone, It's actually very fiercely protected. Another one is Kit Kat, but also the Coca-Cola bottle, So just keep all these in mind. It's really exciting to see. Look around and see how, observe what other people have done.
Okay, so Priya, I think we can move on to the session, the group activity that we have.
Yes, sir. That was really, really good. Thank you so much. I have learned so much today.
Thank you.
Rishita, to first you'll give the children the manual.
Yes, so we'll go into breakout groups very soon, but we've put together a very simple activity for each group. We will give you 15 minutes to discuss and pick a problem that we've come, on the right side, you can see there are a list of a few problems. We'll share the screen. We'll give you 15 minutes to discuss. Each group will pick whatever they like. And at the end, after 15 minutes, we give you 3 minutes to present. So you present your solution to this idea, and also you can quickly, if you want, which is quite interesting, make your brand, and just even if it's just a simple name, you'll think about it, you can add it to your presentation. Yeah. So we can share these a few design problems that we came across. Like there are 3 themes to your hackathon that you all know about. The first is gender equality. The second is healthcare, and lastly, we kind of see education needs a lot of help with solving problems. So there are a few problems that are put together here. So the first is design a method to remind people to visit the doctor annually. So this is like senior citizens or, your people at home. Second is design a way that senior citizens in an old age home don't mix up their reading glasses. It's a very simple one. Third one is design a way to transport people who cannot walk, say if they've fallen, they've had an injury, to take them to a healthcare facility. So how do they get there? How do they approach the doctor finally? Lastly, one more is design a way to identify children who cannot get access, who cannot read in rural areas due to poor eyesight, and help them. So a lot of times in the rural areas, the people just say the children cannot read, but they don't understand that they cannot see well, and to get them an eye test. So how do we find out, all these things, and ultimately, how do we help them reach the, a center where they can test their eyes? Another problem we came across is design a way to ensure that children attend school daily. We are fortunate enough that, we have, our parents they know the importance of education, but in places outside metros, we see children are working. So we need to ensure that they attend school daily. How are you going to solve this? Another one is design a way to ensure children get access to school books without buying them. So not everybody can kind of buy all the books that they need. So how do we circulate them or share our old books or, pass them down to children? So design something where they can get access to all the school books. Another design problem is design a way to encourage reading books. One more is design a method to ensure women and men, this is about equal opportunity, gender equality, get equal opportunities in your colony. You start small, you don't start large, but even in your colony, if you see that there are only men doing certain kinds of jobs, how do you ensure women also come and, take part in this? Design a method where women are encouraged to take up jobs such as driving taxis, auto rickshaws, taking up work at jobs at petrol pumps. So these are a few things we have put together, and we'll put you in breakout groups. And Supriya, you'll help share the screen.
Yeah. Kids, you'll want to can they take a screenshot of the
Sure. That's a good idea.
chat? I'll put it on the chat.
Yeah. So from each team, I think, one of you take a screenshot, so you all can refer to that while you all are working on it.
Do you have any questions? What you'll have to do regarding this activity for 15 minutes and then present at the end? Any questions?
Do we need to just design and think of an idea, or do we need to create a working prototype?
No, you just have to, on paper, design and think of an idea. We do not have as much time to actually create something. You can sketch it out. If you want to show certain sketches, you can show it to us at the end. But, even how your logo looks if you have time, or even a simple thing. This is what my app is called, or this is what my product is. I'm going to solve this problem in such a manner and discuss it, brainstorm. The main thing is brainstorming with your group. Yeah. So you learn to work together.
So they'll be given 15 minutes, right, Rishita?
Yes. Yes.
We are going to put you in your breakout rooms. Think of which one you'll want to work on. And you can use either a sharing Google Doc or a sharing Google Slide to present to us. Okay? Or just do it verbally, whatever works.
Yes.
Yolanda, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Miss. So, can we make our final project related to one of these topics? That's fine.
Yeah. You have to use one of these topics, right? Your final project, that is up to you. This is only for today's session right now. This is only just to make you see how the design thinking process works. We are not talking about the final.
No, but I'm asking if we can do a final project.
Yes.
So Gia, if it's in line with the 3 UN SDG topics that we've given you, then yes, of course, you can take inspiration from that.
You can surely do it.
Somebody else also had a question, right? Or they are sorted?
I think we're sorted, I think.
So let's just start moving the children.
Yes, let's start moving them. Yeah.
Aditi, you're doing that?
Yes, I'll just do.
I think simultaneously I can also move to team 2, I think, if you're doing one.
Sneha, you're in which team? Sneha?
Ma'am, Oh, Sneha Mukhopadhyay is not, she's just...
No, she's one of the teams, right?
Noni Sneha team 2 is, the other Sneha is not.
I think it's the same person. Okay. No.
Yes, no, it is the same person.
Okay. So team 2 then I think it's it.
Rida, you're in team 6, right? Rida Javeri.
Yes.
Yeah, can you? Yeah.
Okay.
Rishita and Purnima, would you like to sort of go into the rooms? Would you like to do that?
Yeah, sure. You can put me in any room.
Aditi, do they have the ability to choose which rooms they want to go to?
Yes, they are co-host. Ms. Rishita, can you see the breakout rooms?
Ma'am, can you put this device into the team 2 breakout room too, ma'am?
I can't see the breakout room. No, I'm not being able to.
Miss, I'm supposed to be in group 6, but I got invited to group 4.
Oh, because you have named yourself as team 4, darling.
Oh, yeah.
I'll put you in team 6. Where are you?
Sorry.
Okay. I know we're still being live streamed, and now maybe we should have kept. Should we
stop sharing? Yeah, the video.
That's okay. She's assigned already. Should we also move for a little while into the teams to make sure they're on track?
No. Does one person have to remain on the main session, Aditi? One person should remain here. I'll remain here. Rishita, you like to be put in any of the rooms?
Yeah, sure. Just put me in any of the rooms. I'll just be around in case they need any, help.
Purnima, may I do the same?
Purnima, maybe just a little busy, so I'm not sure, but yeah.
I'm putting you in room 1 to begin with.
Sure.
Does anybody over here want to go to another room? She is gone. So then, Aditi, if you also like to go to any other room, you're most welcome to.
Yes.
We should also keep a track of time. By 11:15, we should call them back. Are you in, darling? Hello. Would you like, that was a really great session. Would you like to be put in one of the teams too to see what they're doing?
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I didn't hear it. Huh?
I'm saying that was a lovely session. There was.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel like I have a million things going on around me because my dad just got admitted to hospital.
Live stream.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh.
I'm so sorry. I can't. Would you like to be put? Or would you rather be here?
Sorry.
Would you rather?
Are we still on the session? I'm so sorry.
Still in the session. The kids have gone to the breakout rooms to do the ideation.
Okay. Okay.
Would you like to see what they're doing, or would you like to wait here?
Yes, I could go into their room.
Okay.
Thank you.
Supriyanti, who was that Kamdenu something?
We're on live stream.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We are returning to the main session now. I guess we all are back here.
I think we all are back. So Rishita, I'll hand it over back to you.
Yeah.
Team-wise, if they are ready to share.
Sure. Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So team one?
Yes.
Who's presenting?
Miss Harwell.
Abhi, right? Yeah, great. Should I just spotlight you for everybody? Okay. Yes.
Aditi is not audible. That's why I'm presenting.
Okay.
So for the what is the pain point? The pain point is that old people get sick more regularly. Then the problem that we're solving is that old people get sick, and we're trying to solve that. And how we're going to solve the problem is by encouraging them to go for monthly checkups and ensure their health is good. Then what app or product do you plan to design? We're gonna design an app that helps them and makes their health better. We're gonna call it the old people. We're gonna call it the health app, and a special feature for it will be every week we'll give them a special tip.
Oh, that's very nice. So you have tips and tricks, and you have reminders so that they go regularly, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I hope you design this. If you do use this, then the colors, you can have some nice colors to go along with this branding. Yeah. Very well done. Thank you. We can move on to the next. I'll just unspotlight. Screen. How do you remove the spotlight? Can you help?
Yeah. Aditi, can you help?
Oh, yes, he's doing best.
Yes.
Spotlight that team 2. Who's speaking from team 2?
Ma'am, may I speak?
Yes, please.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Introduce yourself. Yeah. The topic.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Sneha Mukhopadhyay from Kolkata. I am a grade 9 student currently, and I'm really passionate about AI. And ma'am, today I bring forward to you the solution to the problem that you gave us, that we had to design a method to remind people to visit the doctors annually. Ma'am, most people, including even people who are in the 40s or 30s or 20s, ma'am, they have a problem that out of workload or out of pressure from studies, they forget about their own health and forget to visit the doctors. So what I want to do is that once they visit a doctor, they write down their dates in a calendar type of thing, and that calendar is AI oriented. The AI understands that these are the days the person had went to the doctor, calculates 1 year after the days, and checks. 1 year later, he checks if on those days the hospital is open or not. If the hospital is not open, then he again calculates to the next day in which the doctor sits for his OPT or the hospital is open and books an appointment. So the person is forced to go and take care of their health. That is my idea.
This is brilliant and so helpful, I think, because if someone pushes you to do something, it will really be, you will do it, I think. So that's good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for this lovely idea. And we can move on to team 3. And I hope you design it well and it looks really appealing so it can be shared with everyone. Yeah? All the best.
I'm talking from team 3, Anaira. Okay. So we came up for quality education. So we want to make a game which shows various stuff like alphabets and numbers for the people in Africa, since Africa is facing a lot of poverty right now, like places such as Mali, Nigeria, and other places in Africa. So, and obviously over there are few teachers, and there's small schools which are still under poverty. So few of them might be having phones. So one could take a phone, and then after that they could show the game we've made, and then after that they could show the children who don't know the stuff. So we could program the game into stuff that the age group should be knowing. Like from 1 to 2, they should know simple stuff. Then 2 to 4, I think, should know alphabets and all and numbers and all. So stuff like that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's very put together. You're breaking it up into age group wise. So I hope, this kind of helps, this thinking helps you in your hackathon, and all the best to your team. Yeah. Team 4.
So me and Gia are going to be presenting for Team 4. And our idea was to create a calendar for old people so that they remember when is their doctor's appointment.
So this is our logo. And so this is a stethoscope and this is a calendar. So a stethoscope kind of resembles someone going to the doctor's office, and a calendar represents time here. And so what we are trying to do also, this app is mainly for old people who have memory loss, and they need to do frequent health checks, and they need to go to the doctors really frequently. So also for like middle-aged people who have who are really busy with work and their jobs, and they tend to forget things and they have many responsibilities. So this app reminds you to go to the doctor's office, and Mahira will explain more.
So our app will basically use the calendar to remind the elderly people to go to the doctor's appointment. And if they forget to go, the calendar will be kind of online. So the calendar will keep on beeping, kind of like an alarm, and will inform them to go to the doctor's appointment. As elderly people forget a lot, and they may have forgotten to go to the doctor's appointment, which causes hazard to their health.
Thank you. Team 4, that was just, is that done?
And I want to add something that we can name this logo Checkmate, so that it will kind of say that a check, so you have to go and make a checkup, and mate is like a friend, so checkmate.
Wow. It sounds like a word from chess. Yeah.
Also, I want to add something that we also have a feature because you need to enter. So you need to enter your age and your weight and your height, and depending on this, it will tell you how frequently you should visit the doctor, depending on your age, weight, and height.
Oh my God, this is, you'll have done so much in 15 minutes, your logo, your brand name. I'm very, very impressed. I hope you'll just test it out with, people around you before you kind of in your final hackathon. All the best to your team. Naira wants to say something, yes?
So basically, old people also, they often forget to schedule visits, and nowadays, especially during the COVID, doctors have huge lines, and it is really hard for old people to wait in the line for so long. So the app, according to what Gia said, the weight, the height, and the age, will also schedule your appointments for you to the doctor. So then all you need to do is just go to the doctor's clinic without even needing to wait.
Oh, nice.
And if you like have a cold, there'll be a section that tells you what medicines to take. So you don't have to waste time going to the doctor for that.
Okay.
And the calendar will take information from Google, from the internet, that does the patient have any other diseases for going for another checkup.
And so basically, sometimes if you have it.
Mahira, sorry, we have another 10 minutes and then we have to go to the next session. So can Rishita Auntie quickly finish with the other teams, and we promise we'll give you.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, has a lot of work done. So we'll come back maybe. All the best to you. Team 5.
So we try to solve for a way that people remember to visit the doctors. So we thought we can build an app where the doctor enters the patient's name, their phone number, and the date of their appointment. And then the doctor also enters the next time the patient has to come back to the clinic. And we can link this website to like WhatsApp or SMS. And a week before the patient has to come for the clinic, they will be sent a WhatsApp message reminding them to call the clinic to book an appointment.
Okay. The frequent reminders. That's nice.
Yeah.
So all the best. Yeah. And we move on to team 6.
So what happens is that many times people get badly injured and then they can't even get up to go to reach an ambulance or go to the hospital.
Right.
So we have come up with a solution called the enhanced wheelchair. The
Enhanced
wheelchair.
Wow. Nice name.
So basically it's connected to a small device which you carry, and if you fall down and get badly injured, you press the SOS button on the device and the wheelchair goes towards you, and then it lifts you up and puts you onto itself. And it has an IV drip on it and a heart rate monitor which it keeps testing, and it can take you to the nearest hospital or it can take you to an ambulance.
That's impressive. I hope such a device comes into, action soon. Great work. I'm wishing you the best for your hackathon. Yeah. Moving on to the next team.
Team 7.
Okay, so we've got a logo, but it's in working. It's not fully done.
That's fine.
So yeah.
It can be a name also, or just, what's your idea? Even if the logo is not ready, it's fine.
No, this is our in working logo.
Wow.
So
nice.
it's a yeah.
What does your app do?
Okay, so basically there's supposed to be a yellow shape and yellow. So there's supposed to be a yellow shape. Yellow because, well, yellow is normally a bright color. Happy
Isha,
color.
we want to know about what the app does, not the logo, Bacha.
Yeah. So the app basically, like, you're going to have to say some like famous people of an occupation, such as the president or prime minister. You would probably think.
So you're saying a project idea. You have to say the idea that we did in.
Which topic have you chosen and what are you solving?
So we have chosen gender equality, and because you see in rural areas, the people over there are not treated equally. Like girls are not being able to get educated. People aren't allowing girls to be educated. Like even young girls have to do chores at home, and they can't go out anywhere. And let's say men go to office for work, but they have told women to stay at home and just complete cooking and cleaning up the house. And men have more opportunities than women have. And it's not that only women are being treated unfairly, even men are being treated unfairly. Like in schools, people say many teachers are there more than sirs. They only think that only teachers can be there, which are girls. So we have made this app which tells you how you are being biased. They're telling you that both men and women are working the same level. They're working as hard. You're just not giving them a chance, so they can't show you. Like in schools, you're saying teachers are there. You're saying that there are more teachers than men. So you're being biased to men in that case. Because you're not giving men a chance, they can't show. And that's why you're being biased to them. So our app is basically where you're going to get an option. So it's going to ask you, can you tell us a famous president or prime minister? So let's say 99% people will type a male like Joe Biden or something like that. And then we will tell them that, see, you've not given women a chance. You're not voting for women. You think women don't have the ability to do it like that. So you're not giving them a chance and you're being unequal to them. So that's how we're going to explain to them. And basically that's how our app works.
So you are going to show by example how you can change, right?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. All the best. Yeah. And I like your
Thank
idea. It's
you.
nice. Teammate.
Okay, so
Shivam, can you present and
Yes.
I'll speak? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so okay, so this is our this is Wheezy, and it's a company where children which are financially in poor areas who have trouble getting eyesight tests, they aren't able to afford tests, they can get eye tests for free. Our company will also host completely free eye tests for poor areas. Along with the tests, we will also educate the children and adults about eyesight and how to help with it. We will also
partner with
major
glasses brands
like Lenskart, etc.
Yeah.
So we have
This is our
the logo, and we want all children to have equal eyesight, and that they should have probably equal eyesight, and they should see everything. So we want everyone to afford eyesight tests, and we want to make a bright future in the future. Yeah. So that's our presentation, and this is our logo. And we've written VZ, and that there is a glass. There are glasses, and yes, this is our app. This is our app, and where the topic is health and well-being.
Very good, Shivam. And we love the logo. It's a great idea. And this is a real project. I would like you to know some people have adopted villages and are doing this. So I hope this actually works so it can help people later. Thank you and all the best. Yeah. Team 9.
That's it. There are only team 8.
Okay, great. It's so lovely to hear that such brilliant ideas are there with our kids, and so I'm sure this will help them for the hackathon, but also in future, this design thinking should be a skill that you take along for every small problem. Yeah? Thanks, Supriya, for having us.
Thank you, Rishita.
Yes.
I'd like to give you a vote of thanks.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Teachers.
Rishita, that was very, very informative. I think, the entire process. Thank you for taking the children through the process of design thinking. Also, Purnima, thank you so much for really, taking them into the nuances of branding and logo design. Like Supriyanti said earlier, not only the children, I think we also learned a lot of things today. Thank you for the amazing workshop. Really got those brain cells thinking for the children as well. So thank you so much. And of course, we look forward to seeing you all again.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Miss, can we leave?
Children, we have the next